So I'm getting ready to fill these jugs up. And if anybody doesn't think that people that live in an RV are kind of green on purpose, this is what I've used for water all week. About 18 gallons. Now I did discover when I was looking at my van one day that there was a lot of water under the, wouldn't you know, this microphone cord would get hung up. I noticed there was a lot of water coming out of my air conditioner, so I took a jug and put it under that air conditioner and started gathering, believe it or not, about, I don't know, 8 or 12 gallons a week, depending on how humid it was outside. Anyway, about this water, the city of Leeds, and this is where I was born, bought this spring from this lady named Ella Rowan, and you might say Rowan, it's R-O-W-A-N. And she wanted to make sure that people that didn't have water could get water. So ever since 1953, you've been able to come here and get water at no charge. She requested that as part of the sales deal with the city of Leeds, and they've honored that this whole time. So I'm taking advantage of it. Messed up that time. I'm taking advantage of it since I don't have water there. I come by here when I'm not too far off sometime or on a day off and get water for my RV, which I take. Right now I'm getting it in these gallon jugs, and I'll take it home and pour it into my largest jug. I started doing this. I don't know if you've ever tried to pick up a 7-gallon jug of water, but it's pretty doggone heavy. And of course, when I was a younger man, I never had issues with that. I would have picked up one with the right arm and one with the left arm and put it up on that place where I siphon my water down. You know, when you're siphoning water or siphoning anything for that matter, you have to have it higher than the spot where you're siphoning it. So I had a place about 4.5 to 5 feet high where I lift that 7-gallon jug up, and it was starting to give me some back problems. So I've left the 7-gallon jug sitting up on the thing, and as I'm siphoning the water out into the RV, I continuously fill it back up with these gallon jugs. I'm hoping because of that my back will get feeling a little bit. We'll find out. But anyway, this is there's another one full. This is what I do to get water in that RV. And it's going to be nice being back down there in Tampa where I have a hose and don't have to fool with this. But with the price that I'm paying for rent, I can't be a person griping. So there's the water. Okay, so that was pretty painless filling up those jugs. And I just wanted to throw in, and I need to say this, I use that little bit of water, and don't forget all of it I get out of the from the condensation out of my air conditioner. But I do take a shower every day before I go to work. Those of you that don't live in an RV, the shower head has a switch on it to turn it on and off, and so you use a lot less water in a shower than you do in a normal house shower. Because what you do is you turn that on and wet your hair up, and then wash your hair, and then you turn it back on and get the soap out of your hair, and then you spray down to wet up, and then you wash with your soap, and then you spray down to clean the soap off of you. So you're just not using that much water. So that's the whole deal with that. And some people would call this not being green, but I use a lot of those heavy-duty paper bowls and paper plates so that I don't have to wash dishes all the time. So I don't wash dishes but about every 4 days, and I use the sinks in RVs. I have a double sink, but they're smaller than the one you'd find at your house, and I don't fill it but about halfway up. And it's usually some miscellaneous forks and spoons and a spatula and 4 days worth of coffee cups. And so it isn't that much that I even have to wash dishes at any one time. So that's where I come up with the idea. And of course I didn't come up with it, but that's the idea behind an RV, or at least as far as water goes, being pretty green. Anyway, that other video, the last one about the Uber, was getting a little long, so I just thought I'd throw this water one out there by itself, because I thought that was an interesting story, that the person that sold that land and that spring to the city of Leeds was looking out for people that might have issues with water. And back in 1953 in rural Alabama, it wouldn't have been uncommon for people to not have a flushing toilet, to have to go to an outhouse outside. I mean, I remember, I was born in 49, I remember outhouses being around up until, I don't know, I was probably 10 or 11. So, not in most people's. When I was 10 or 11, most people had running water, but there was still an outhouse here and there. So that lady, Mrs. Ella Rowan, was looking out for people when she sold that land, and I think she should be commended for that. Of course, she's long gone now, but the road there where that faucet is located is called Rowan, so that was named after her. And so I just thought that was a pretty good little story. So until next time, that's all I'm gonna bore you about water and water jugs. Adios. When I started doing these Uber videos, I got several comments, and I want people to comment. The comments were about, stay out late on Friday and Saturday night, and you'll get all this business. And there was one comment, I think he texted me, a buddy of mine in Ohio, and his intentions were good. He was talking about, like splitting doing a split shift kind of thing, working early rush and late, take the middle of the day off. And I'm really just not trying to max this thing out. I need to make what I need, and that's all I need. So I don't want to be out at 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings, whatever you want to call them, Friday nights and Saturday nights. I don't want to be out at 3 o'clock in the morning with drunk, crazy people. And those aren't my hours. I'm an early riser. I like to get up and get the day started. And then I like to go to bed in time at night that I can get a good 7 or 8 hours sleep. And that's just the way it is. I'm not at this time in my life interested in making the maximum amount of money I can in any period of time or in any week. I'm not trying to buy a bigger house. I'm not trying to buy a bigger car. I'm not trying to buy a bigger lawnmower. There's probably a new RV in my future. I'll deal with that when the time comes. But as far as it goes, I can make what money I need working the daytime, and so the daytime's what I'm going to do. And I appreciate the comments, and please keep sending comments. But I just thought I would touch on that and just let people know what's going on in my head. I am Mr. Daytime. I like to see my sunrises in the morning, not at the end of the day. So that's what that's all about. I did that for years, believe me.